Hi everyone, Vincenzo here with a new ukulele tutorial. This week, let's learn some very interesting chords. This is the 5th lesson of a 10-lesson series designed to take your playing to the next level. After working on rhythm, ear training and on a rock riff, let's now have a look at some cool chord shapes that you can play to spice up songs. This is a very important aspect of your playing. In fact, it's a little bit blunt to always play the same chord shapes, like G, C, A minor, and so on and so on. Today, I'm gonna be showing you 10 chord shapes that you can use to make the songs that you already know sound more interesting. I will divide them in two categories. In the first category, you will learn some alternative chord shapes to play common chords. And in the second one, you will learn some new chords that you can play instead of the standard major and minor ones. This will make more sense as we go along. In fact, enough with the talking and let's get started. The first chord of today is an alternative shape for G. So you have open 4th string, 7, 7 and 5. I like the sound the two G's next to each other create. So each time you see a G, you can actually use this shape. In fact, the first 5 chords that I will show you today are chords that you can play at all times and that will work for sure. The second chord of today is an alternative shape for C. So you have 5, 4, 3 and 7. It's a little bit tricky to play the 7th fret, but this is the beauty of this chord. In fact, having the major third of the chord as the highest note within the chord works very well. Chord number 3 is an alternative shape for A minor. So you have 5, 4, 5 and 7, similar to the C you just played. Chord number 4 is F sharp minor 7. So you have 2, 4, 2 and 4. You can play it with a bar or with 4 fingers, up to you. The last chord of this group is an alternative shape for A7, this one. So you have 2, 4, 3 and 4. Let's now work on 5 more chords. These are going to be a bit different. In fact, the chords that I've shown you so far, they always work. Meaning, if you have a C and you decide to use this shape, it will work for sure, because from an harmonic point of view, nothing changes. The chords that I'm going to be showing you now instead, they slightly change the nature of the chord, the type of the chord. And so there is a small risk they might not work. Of course, there are theoretical reasons to understand whether they work or not, but I would say that at this stage, it's better to simply trust your ears. Play the chord and see if it works. That's always a good starting point. Chord number 6 is a super easy shape. It's basically a G major without the middle finger, and it's called G sus2. Sus2, suspended second chords, can be used instead of major ones and sometimes also instead of minor ones. In fact, what is special about the sus2 chord is that it's neither major nor minor. Next one is F add 9. This has a similar sound to the sus2, but it's a different chord. So you have 5, 5, 3 and open 1st string. You can use this chord instead of a standard major one. Now, you might be wondering what all these numbers 2, 7, 9 mean. Well, they are simply the extension of the chord. So add 9 means that you're gonna be adding the 9th note, which in F is G, because you have F, G, A, B flat, C, D, E, F, and G. Next one is another add 9 shape, this time B flat add 9. So you have 3, 2, 1 and 3. I know that some of you don't like the B flat chord, and so guess what? You can actually play B flat add 9, which sounds cooler and it's easier. Now let me show you a chord that you can use instead of playing the standard minor one. So I'm talking about this one, A minor 9. This is a really simple shape because it's like a G major, but you're simply moving the index to the 4th string. And there you go, your A minor 9. The last chord of today is C major 9. This is different from add 9, and again it can be used instead of major chords, especially if the song that you're playing has a melancholy vibe. So you have 5, 4, 7 and 5. This is not the easiest chord to play, but it sounds really beautiful. Now, one thing to mention is that chord shapes can be moved up and down the neck, so that you can play the same type of chord but from a different root. That means that if you know how to play C major 9, you also know how to play E major 9. Now, this is easier than you think, and so let me show you exactly how it works. So any chord that doesn't use open strings can be moved up or down the fretboard. So for example, this is C major 9. If I move it one fret up, I get C sharp major 9. If instead I move it one fret down, I get B major 9. So if I want to play E major 9, all I have to do is this: C, C sharp, D, D sharp and E. The shape of course doesn't change, and there you go, your E major 9. Let's take another chord. Say you have A minor, but you want to play G minor. So you will have A minor, A flat minor, and there you go, G minor. All you have to do is go through the notes in chromatic order, meaning A, A sharp, B, C, and so on and so on. Or the other way, A flat, G, G flat, and so on and so on. Remember, this only works with chords that don't have open strings. In fact, say you have A minor 9. If you play it over here, you're not going to have B minor 9. In fact, as you can see, it doesn't work at all. Now that you know these 10 chords and that you also know how to transpose them, it's time to put everything in action. So let's say you have a very basic chord progression: A minor, F, C, and G. The first time I will play it in a very simple way, and the second time I will play it using some of the chords you've just learned. Let's see what happens. 3, 4, A minor, F, C, and G. Very simple. Again, A minor, F, C, and G. Now let's play it using some of the chords you've just learned. So 3, 4, A minor, F at 9, C, and G. Again, A minor, F at 9, C, and G. Okay, so which one do you prefer? Let me know in the comments. The aim of this tutorial was to teach you some new chord shapes to spice up songs. Your homework for today is to go through 1 or 2 songs that you already know and use some of the chords that you've just learned. You can see this process, for example, in my tutorial of Other Side, where I took a simple chord progression and I played it using some alternative chord shapes. Now remember, you don't have to use a lot of these new chords in one single song. In fact, you can just use one chord for the verse and another one in the chorus, and you will already be able to notice the difference. On my Patreon page, you can find a worksheet with all the chords that I've taught you today, plus 5 extra ones. Also, remember that for this 10 lesson series, and in general, for all my tutorials, you have the option of sending me your homework, whether it's a video or an audio file, and receiving some personalized feedback from me. That is if you join the Master Ukuleles tier. Also, don't forget that if you learned something from this video and you would like to say thank you, you can buy me a coffee. Link in the description. That's all for now. Let me know in the comments if everything is clear. And don't forget to download my free 8-step roadmap, link in the description, that will tell you the exact process I followed to learn the ukulele, and that will support your learning in this 10 video series. Moreover, check out the other links in the description to learn more about the types of classes that I've got available at the moment. And of course, if you like this video, don't forget to subscribe to my channel so that you don't miss any of my new tutorials. Having said that, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next week with lesson number 6 of this YouTube course. Ciao!